And by fifth set, I of course mean the fourth set, because they are playing on Korhal Floating Island, spawning in the bottom left-hand position as the red Zerg from STX Seoul. With some red hair, his name is hyvaa.
And spawning on the top right position as the blue Protoss saying thank God because it's the 1 o'clock and the 7 o'clock position. His name is Bong.
Yes, of course, you mentioning their starting positions because on Korhal Floating Island they can also spawn on the other two corners of the map, and it does lead to a different, I guess, layout and flow of the game.
And we are not going to see any proxy 2 gateways today.
No, we're not.
So at least we could get that out of the picture.
Yeah, we did see proxy 2 gate last time we had a PvZ on this map. Now, I know there was a Twitter question about Perla you wanted to talk about at the beginning of this game before any action goes ahead, so let's hear it.
What was the worst and / saddest disqualification you guys have seen in Pro League? The one that stands out for me has to be Lita's PP disqualification.
Yeah, didn't he type like PPP instead of PP?
The rule was 3 Ps in a row, but he only typed 2 Ps and he was disqualified for that.
Ouch.
Which really hurt, I have to say. But, you know, Casper rules, the rules stated that you need 3 Ps instead of different amount of Ps, and the referee, he had to do his job. If not, he was going to get fired, so that's why he had to do it. You know, he had to set the strict rule instead of being lenient for the first time.
Yeah, luckily nowadays the Casper referees, they have loosened up a little bit. They're a little bit more lenient. I think they realize that, you know what, we were kind of being dicks. We were being a little bit too hard on the players for, you know, ridiculous things. So let's go ahead and just cool it off a little bit.
Hold on a second. It depends on the referee.
All right. Well, we've been getting lucky on the refs then.
All right. Once again, the quiz of the day in 2005, May 17th. There was the first ace match in Pro League. Who won that ace match?
Was the first ace match also coincidentally for the first match?
I don't think so.
Okay, that would make
sense.
sense. All right, just interesting choice of words there. All right, but getting into the game here, it looks like we just have a very standard opening from both players here. We have 4 lings on the way from hyvaa. Looks like he wants to first snipe off this probe here. Bong trying to be sneaky, but hyvaa having none of that. Not going to fall for that. And interestingly, grabbing a fast gas behind this as well, and not taking his third quite yet here. So if we don't see that third go down very fast, oh, never mind. We see the drone moving.
It's still only 3 minutes and 50 seconds into the game, so we have to wait until about like 4 minutes and 30 seconds or up until 5 minutes to see if he actually takes the base or not. You know, this is a standard timing for the circuit. There we go.
Just the gas threw me off. I was thinking, well, what are you going to do with that?
Same here, but I just wanted to wait before we saw what was happening by our Zerg player, hyvaa.
Yeah. And so hyvaa just doing a little bit of scouting here, getting some map control with these Zerglings, maybe trying to potentially spot any type of probes running around or some proxy pylons. On a map like this where there's no watchtowers, it can be very easy to put down a lot of proxy pylons around the map and just really annoy your opponent. So I like hyvaa's decision to get some good map coverage with his Zerglings.
But I also like maps without the watchtowers because it's so much harder for the Zerg players to scout around what they're doing. And we have 8 more Zerglings and the speed out on the way for our player hyvaa. So this is definitely not an all-in because he's getting a 3rd hatchery for himself. However, he wants to deal some economic damage against his opponent, and if Bong is not ready for this, then he could actually lose the game. He sees a 3rd hatchery, so now he's thinking, oh, this is going to be a regular play by hyvaa, but he needs to go to the natural and check inside the main base. If not, then...
I love how the observer's pointing out like
that really threw me off.
I know. He's like, guys, who cares about the probes and the Zerglings? Look at the cool-looking spaceships in the background.
Well, now we have to focus on the Zergling count.
Yeah, the Zergling count's actually starting to get out of control here. We have a total of 26 Zerglings with more on the way here, and I think that what hyvaa wants to do here is essentially force this the sentry out a little bit here.
I have to say the 3rd hatchery was a fake. Now, at this point, you know, I was thinking Hybo was going to apply some pressure, but now it's a complete fake. He's only making pure Zerglings, and his opponent is going for the Stargate. But can he have enough units against this? He does have the second sentry out on the way.
He does have the second sentry, but the Zergling speed about to complete here. And we do have a lot of Zerglings from Hiva moving across the map. Now that Zergling speed has completed, we will have a few force fields. The Zerglings moving in here now. Nice force field. And already the Zerglings are attacking a lot of the buildings here. It's going to take some nice control and crisis management from our Protoss player Bong here to defend against this. But the amount of Zerglings out on the map here is just looking very deadly, and the Forge does manage to go down. We have a decent wall off here, but the Zerglings will eventually be able to eat through this. There's only a couple of sentries, the Mothership Core and the one cannon defending against this. And the Gateway, it's going to go down as well. Now the Zerglings are moving in there. They're going to be able to get some surround here, but
the probes are actually covering up the cannons from the front, which means that Hyba's having a harder time, and the cannons are finishing up one by one.
Hiva, though, still ahead in the supply here, regardless. Uh-oh, the Zerglings, they managed to run by here, and that means they're going to go into the main base of our CJ player Bong, and this is going to be very hard to recover from.
Yeah, but remember, the Mothership Core is actually active in Heart of the Swarm, so he could eventually defend against the Zerglings inside the main base, and all Bong has to do is target fire those Zerglings with the Mothership Core inside the main base and make sure there's no secondary Zergling run by at the natural. That is the biggest key point in this game.
That is the biggest key point, but look at this, the Zergling run by. Here it comes. The Zergling count is very immense right now, and one cannon going down. Another one will go down shortly after this. We have a good force field there, and it looks like Bong will be able to just barely defend against this attack here, but losing a lot of cannons, and this Overlord actually has to be careful, doesn't want to get sniped off by any cannons. And the problem is Bong, essentially, he is ahead in workers, but he's got no tech right now. He's got nothing.
So if he defends once more, then he's going to have a chance to win this game once again. But look at this, he doesn't have any cannon in the Forge to cover this.
Uh-oh, and now the Zerglings, they're going to get a good surround on that sentry there, deciding, hey, I don't care about the space. I'm just going to go into the main base and snipe down that Nexus.
Yeah, and with Hyba just storming in constantly, you know, Bong, he needs to wall off the natural completely, get a few cannons out, but he doesn't have the minerals to do so. He is going for the wall off once again, but there's only 2 sentries, and he's going to be fine, no problem. But the Zerglings coming from the back once again, and the cannon gets taken out.
Cannon's taken out. There's nothing to deal with the mass amounts of Zerglings here, and I think this is going to be curtains for Bong. He did a decent job trying to defend against this, but Hyva, man, he just went for it, and you know, once the Zerglings got in the main base, I felt like that was it.
I was about to say, hold on a second, until I saw the second batch of Zerglings. Now they get inside the main base, and now Bong does not have an answer against these Zerglings.
And with those reinforcements there, that's going to be it. GG. Bong falling to Hyva's Zergling attack there, and you know, he did have the 2 sentries, but it just wasn't enough, man. I feel like he delayed his Mothership Core a little bit too much, and no Void Ray as well after from that Stargate.
Well, remember, he didn't have any economy after putting down so many cannons, and the Stargate actually was unpowered for a long time, so he couldn't get a Void Ray out.
So unfortunate for Bong to lose like that. I'm sure he's a little bit frustrated from that. Looks like he's talking to Effort and Hydra, his Zerg teammate, saying, hey guys, what could I have done there to not lose in that situation?
Well, one thing I want to tell to Bong is to actually scout what the Zerg player has.